What is up, good people? Welcome back to my channel, Budget with D. Once again, so pleasantly happy to have you here on another Fix It Fridays. Your money, know it, grow it, where we talk all things money management. In today's episode of Fix It Friday, we will be discussing how to set up your budget for success or how to make your budget succeed. First of all, you need to know your why. Why are you budgeting? And then when you answer that, you need to ask yourself why to that answer. And then why again to that answer. So you're going 3 degrees deep. So are you budgeting to save more money, to pay off debt, to go on vacation, or just not to be stressed out? Knowing your why will help you stick with it when things get tough. Know your wise and will help you to control the controllables and own the outcomes that you have control over. So answer the question, why am I budgeting, or why do I need a budget? And after knowing your why, you will want to do these 4 tips that I'm going to share with you today. So I will be using my Happy Planner notebook that I shared with you in the last video, and I have some stickers from a local supplier that I will also be using. So let's get right into it as we talk about how to set up your budget for success, because we do want to succeed at this whole budgeting process. Tip number 1, and I'm going to be using the stickers that I have here. It's so pretty, such a pretty flower. I'm going to turn it this way and stick him on right here, trying to line him up with the lines, guys. All right, so tip number 1 is to follow your budget. So that's number 1. Tip number 1 is to follow your budget. This is the tipping point for most people. Adding, subtracting, tracking expenses, keeping records of budget categories can seem overwhelming and challenging at first. Keep track on paper or digitally using an app. Knowing how much you spend outside of bills, it helps for me, it helps me to stay on top of my spending, and 2, to make wiser spending decisions. So tip number 1, follow your budget. Tip number 2, guys, I'm going to put it this right here. Make a nice little design. So I'm going to put number 2 here. And tip number 2 is to have some flexibility within your budget. So have flexibility. So within the structure of your budget, you want to have some flexibility, because so many people think of a budget as being restrictive and like a loss of their freedom. It creates a sense of fear of hours of monotonous detailed accounting, and fear of not having enough. So don't set yourself up for failure, because we want to succeed. So you need to have some flexibility within your budget. So I would suggest that you set up a line item in your budget that covers the things that you like to do. For example, you see I have sectioned off in my cash envelopes, I have sectioned off a section for hobbies. So things that you like to do, whether it's eating out, shopping, add extra money to that category. So your budget is, of course, it's ever changing. Every month, from month to month, your budget will fluctuate, right? So it's a constantly changing system. So adjust accordingly and go along happily. Go along happily. All right. So that's tip number 2, have flexibility. Tip number 3. 3. Let's see what pattern I'm making here. I love these stickers. They're so beautiful. So beautiful. Tip number 3 is to add miscellaneous line and item in your budget. So that's miscellaneous item. So add a miscellaneous line item to your budget. These are small items that we may not think about, but they are still expenses that come out of your income or come out of your salaries. For example, your kid has a barber appointment, or they have a school raffle or a school outing or a school donation, for example. Well, they're not having any field trips now, but just for example, so it's a particular item that needs to be taken, let's say, to the laundromat, or a friend, let's say, just say, hey guy, hey, you wanna, chill for some ice cream. So it's basically a spontaneous type item, and it's a random event that pop up over time. And having something small put aside, a small cushion, it will help you to, 1, be prepared, 2, feel less restricted or like you've lost your freedom, and 3, it will prevent you from going over your budget or from blowing your budget. So set up a miscellaneous line item in your budget. All right, so next we have tip number 4, which is our final tip, and I'm going to be using from this sticker here, and it just says here, I'm working on a new me. So this big one we're gonna place over here. Nice. So tip number, I didn't put the number 3 here, you guys didn't remind me. Tip number 4. So tip number 4 is, if you fail, you are not a failure. So tip number 4, if you fail, you are not a failure. Get up, dust your feet, dust your pants legs, dust your skirt legs, and try again. The journey of 1,000 miles, guess how it begins? It begins with one single step. So it may take you about 6 months to get yourself situated, to get yourself adjusted to budgeting and to your new budget. Sometimes life happens, and my video on my sinking funds and closeout update, you would see that I would have had to take out from my big buys, pull from my home funds, my household, and my emergency fund, because life happens. So there may be some bumps along the road. There may be some, this month not looking too encouraging months along the road, where you may have gone over, you may have overspent in one category. The thing is, dust off, try again, and you can do it. I know that you can, and I believe that you can. So just to recap, these 4 tips on how to set up your budget for success, or how to make your budget succeed. 1 is to follow your budget. It helps you to stay on top of your spending and to make wiser spending choices. 2 is to have flexibility. You want to have some flexibility so you do not feel that you have lost your freedom. 3, set up a miscellaneous item for those random events that pop up. I even have an oops envelope in my cash envelope categories. Number 4, very important. If you fail, remember you are not a failure. So I want to put remember. I'm going to stick it in right here. Remember that you are not a failure. Dust yourself off, try again. So thank you so much once again for joining me on another Fix It Fridays. It's your money, know it and grow it. So Remember to like, to share, to subscribe to Budget with D. Of course, you know what's coming. I pray that you are blessed, that your finances are blessed, and that all your people are blessed. Have another good one, guys. See you soon. Bye. Peace.